So again, folks, thank you for tuning in here on the USF Pro Championship YouTube channel or on the app. My name's Rob Howden, joined by Todd Lewis, the voice of this event. And here we go out of the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about set to start the 2025 seats. You see some drivers there on sticker tires for this one here. Lined up nicely. Aaron Likens up in the stand. We are almost ready to go racing. Nice crawl down out of turn number 13 and 14. Waiting for it to come rolling. And ladies and gentlemen, we are underway. Green, green, green. Big defense down to the inside of the corner. A couple drivers going wide. You got, big move there. One of the drivers overcooking it right into the side of the number 7 of Brad Majman. There is your turn 1 survival right there. They'll let these drivers race, I think, for probably half of the lap right now. Let them go at it a little bit to try to set down, get them a couple of passes, and then we'll eventually, I expect, go yellow. Another driver off already over in turn number 4. Someone overcooking it coming through there. Very tight coming through 5, 6, over to 7. Here's 8. Again, they'll let the drivers very likely get out there to turn number 10. We want to give them a chance to do a little bit of racing here to settle things in. There's the yellow flag. And indeed, full course yellow. An inauspicious beginning to the 2025 season. Brad Majman there for Jay Howard Driver Development. No fault of his own at all. One of the drivers a little bit further back, throwing it up the inside and cleared him out. I want to say that only because the coloration of the car, very likely Teddy Musella, I think the 25, who got too deep into the corner. And we talked about it, guys. Down the inside, you can see all the paint on the racetrack. We talked about it as well earlier today, that maybe you want to practice a move to the inside there. He came in, got on the brakes, and literally just drove right into the side of Majman.
So tantalizing as you're approaching that first corner. You think you have the opportunity to maybe pick up a position, gain a spot or two early on, but then you realize that the grip changes significantly because of all the painted lines on the airport runway, as you mentioned, and that turn is so much tighter approaching from in to driver's right and then trying to make that right-hand turn so much more difficult as they move that 7 car out of the way. I don't know if they'll be able to get it restarted or if it's going to be able to continue. I couldn't see if there was any damage on the side that got hit and spun him around.
I was going to say, it's rolling pretty good backwards. He's already going to lose the lap here now. Again, Majman will, but he'd love to be able to get the lap time. They'll pull him back, potentially try to refire him. He stayed in the car, so no indication that there is damage. They'll see if he can't get him refired and get back underway. But a tough one for Majman. That is definitely tough. And again, that was part of my keys to the race, right? Like I said, turn 1 survival. You have to be able to get through the corner cleanly there. Otherwise, you're going to have an issue. And like I said, I think it may have been Teddy Musella. Very hard to pick up. Just the grayish color of the car. But otherwise, eventually we'll go back. Not for replay now, but for later. We're going to be able to potentially go back and have a look at it.
And that's the thing, is trying to impress that upon the young men and women who participate in the USF Pro Championships, is understanding that turn 1 can be problematic. Yeah. All you have to do is go back and watch over the 20-year history of this race and understand that turn 1 can be problematic. It's an opportunity under the right circumstances, which more often do not exist. It's problematic far more frequently than it's a great opportunity.
We're hoping for Bradley Majman to potentially come up, but you saw how hard that impact was as he came into the corner. It was a real good center punch, so I got to believe it didn't look like right front damage, so you got to think if he's not pulling back out, likely left rear damage. A center punch like that could be suspension. It also could be the half shaft into the gearbox a bit. So again, our drivers are rolling around. I don't know that we'll go green this time by. They were able to obviously pull Majman off pretty quickly over there. Being told the lights are out on the pace car, so indeed, we're potentially going back to racing. Now, again, you're going to see that pace car jet out away if we're going back to green. They were right on top of them, so we will not go green again. We'll roll back around. Caleb Gaffera is your leader. Liam McNeely second. Third, Lionel. Fourth, Jeffers. Let's update live timing and see if they've got it handled. We are going to be 1 to go. Jeffers actually was able to get by a Lionel. He moved up, so Jeffers goes up into third. Lionel back to 4th. Evan Cooley, who started 8th. Again, that opening lap, he attacked big time. He goes up to the 5th position. 6th spot for G3 Argyros. He started 9th, so he went up a couple of spots as well. You got to figure drivers who were able to kind of find their way through that were able to get a couple of spots because, again, whoever came down into Majman, again, haven't seen a replay, so I don't want to really say exactly who it was, but a hard impact there. T-Bone a number of drivers able to benefit on that. Brady Golan as well, 10th to 7th. Lucas Facuri, 11th, up into Facuri went up into 8th. Christian Cameron, 9th, and Anthony Martella, 10th. Teddy Musella is actually down as well. In fact, he may be he's on the track still, but he's lost a lap. Brad Mashman has not turned a lap. Teddy Musella, indeed, the number 25, the driver involved. And again, aggressive. The tough thing is those are the two drivers that came in from the JSF4 program. Teddy Musella won the championship. Brad Mashman finished, I believe, in 5th spot. Both of them race winners in that series. And Musella coming in, clearing out Mashman in that one. So both those drivers will very likely finish 18th and 19th, respectively.
Thomas Schrag, who did start at the tail end of the field, was able to pick up a few spots once the field started scattering to avoid that problem in corner number 1. After starting tail end, he's up to 14th. Another restart opportunity. So, again, maybe this is another opportunity for Thomas Schrag to improve his position.
To be honest, for Thomas Schrag, that's fantastic. He goes from 19th to 14th. Single file restart right now. He'll be able to go back to work. Pace car has jumped on that throttle and work its way back to pit lane, so that will leave the field in the hands of Caleb Gaffera. I talked about the fact in my keys to the race. Restart defense. Let's see what happens for Caleb Gaffera. You can't spin the wheels coming out of 14, and you got to make sure you defend on the attack that you're going to see. Let's see if we have it coming down here. The field coming out of 14. They'll get the green flag, and we're back underway. Here's that shot. Right down to the bottom of the racetrack goes Gaffera, and McNeely's going to roll all the way around the outside, and I have a feeling that Jack Jeffers may be able to sneak it in there as well. They'll work their way through. Further back, great battle. But Liam McNeely, 100% around the outside. Gaffera able to hold back, I believe, Jack Jeffers. But Liam McNeely has now gone into the lead. There he is, indeed. Battle right there behind them with Joshua Leonel and Evan Cooley. Top 5 drivers trying to stretch away a bit. Sun starting to work its way down to the horizon here in St. Petersburg, the first of 2 races for USF 2000. They'll cap off their event tomorrow afternoon. One driver off over in turn number 8, took the runoff, spinning around, coming back out at the tail of the field. That's one of the D-Force drivers who overcooked it down into turn 8, but wisely was able to get into the runoff and not get into the wall.
Exactly. That's why they put those runoffs in. If you carry too much speed, you can get slowed down, get yourself turned around, and back into the fight without causing any damage, and we continue under green.
And quick part of the racetrack here. Out of 10 through 11 and 12. The chicane that leads over to the 13-14 hairpin here. Drivers did a great job early on. Fantastic. And I said, what did I say? Restart defense. Just not able to get it done for Caleb Gaffera. He ran down the bottom, but a fantastic drive off the corner for McNeely. He goes to the lead. Gaffera runs second. Jeffers in third. Leonel fourth and Cooley fifth. Ardros up to sixth. Anthony Martella, who started 13th, now up into 7th. Great move for Martella. Cameron Fakiri and Ayrton Hauk. Ayrton Hauk 15th to 10th as well. So indeed, solid opening laps here.
This is the opportunity, as others do have difficulty getting up to speed or fighting a little harder than they should at some points. Other difficulties provide opportunities for racers. Anthony Martella, one of those that has taken advantage. We talked about Thomas Schrag, who is continuing to run in 14th. We'll see if he'll be able to move forward a little further after starting tail end, but a number of drivers starting to pick up extra positions.
20-lap race with a 45-minute time limit, so we're down to 36 minutes, but again, only working lap number 4 at this point, so indeed a good start there for Liam McNeely. He knew exactly what to do, was able to get the run and slip on by Caleb Gaffera on the lap. It's very tough sometimes to hold on to that lead when the restarts come. Gaffera trying to get the draft now to see if he can't work up on McNeely to go back to the battle. We'll see them as they work their way down into turn number 1. Again, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 lining up pretty good. There is Cooley, and right behind Cooley is G3 Ardros. Then the big run down to the next group, and that is Martella rolling his way through. Martella's got Christian Cameron and Lucas Fakuri right behind him. Now we're settled into the groove, and really, Todd, that's the one thing I always look for. Come on, if we can get through the first couple of laps, we know we're going to get into the groove. These drivers will get comfortable. It's just the anxiousness, it's the anxiety and the hecticness of the opening lap where drivers make mistakes.
This is the opportunity for drivers to get a better feel of their cars as well. They've spent the first couple of laps under green and just getting settled in and understanding that the car is behaving a little differently because of all the rubber that we've got on track. I'm feeling pressure from behind. I'm trying to follow and stay close to the car that's in front of me. Now I'll get a chance to really assess what it is under me in terms of my car,
That's so
where
true.
where my best opportunities are on the track.
And again, it's the first time they've been on this IndyCar rubber. We talked about that. So drivers that are raw rookies here who have never had a chance to run on IndyCar rubber like this, the changing of the conditions is so drastic. Again, as I said, 72 degrees we started. It actually fallen already back to 70. A light breeze starting to pick up here coming off the bay. Teddy Musella, who was involved in the contact with Brad Mashman, actually remained on the lead lap, although he fell to the tail of the field. Still runs on the lead lap, I believe. Brady Golan may have been the driver who went off track. We'll see if he's able to continue on. Golan may be out of this race as well. Field just streaming its way through here now. McNeely, Gaffera, Jeffers, Lionel, Cooley, still the top 5. Oh, big crash coming out of turn number 4. Driver hard into the wall. And I want to say that driver may have overcooked it coming through turn number 4. So hard to pick up which driver that may be. But yeah, there's the contact of the driver coming out of turn number 4, potentially making a move for the lead, you wonder, to the inside. If that is indeed Gaffera, we don't know at this point here. AMR IndyCar safety crew on the scene very, very quickly. They tell the drivers in these races, there you go, whoever the driver is getting out of the car right now. We'll try to see if we can't pick up exactly who that is. That may be Caleb Gaffera. I don't know at this point here. It's, again, so hard to pick up here, the shade of the particular camera angle that we have. It looks like a Pabst Racing suit, and indeed that may be Caleb Gaffera from second spot. I believe Jack Jeffers has now gone into the lead, and I have a feeling that may have been contact between the leaders, McNeely and Gaffera. Both those drivers falling to the tail of the field, and I mentioned the angle of impact there. If you come in hard and you make a mistake and you're not able to get the car woed up or turned, you may end up right in the barriers, not even in the tires, because, Todd, if you get in the tires, it'll usually grab you and keep you back there. If you farther up the road, you're very likely to hit the wall and skidded up the wall.
And then you tend to ride the wall, and there may be others involved in that as well. Anthony Martella has also dropped back to 15th position now.
Sebastian Garzone.
Yep. And this is a number of vehicles that are involved in this contact in race number 1 of the weekend of the USF 2000 series. Exactly what we wanted to avoid. We started to get a couple of laps in, and then...
No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it looked to me like Liam McNeely, I think, was still on the track. We finally got a visual. Live timing says he's down in 13th position, but I believe that McNeely may still be on the racetrack. We'll pick them up as they come back through again. Yeah, there's McNeely there. So indeed, for those of you who are following for Liam McNeely back in the UK, I apologize. Live timing, of course, sees him falling down the order. I'm sure you're following that as well. So he still is out front. Not exactly sure why he didn't pick up on live timing. We'll have a look at that. Jeffers will move into second. He was able to get by a Lionel a couple of laps ago, as we know. So Caleb Gaffera, the driver qualified on the pole position, ends up in the wall in turn number 4, exit of 4. Not exactly sure what happened there, or we don't have any kind of review of that at this point here. So that was on lap number, I believe, 6. Let's try to re-rack them for you. Again, it's tough for me to jump in here now knowing that a couple of the drivers out, because we mentioned that one of the drivers might have been Martella and Garzone, but I don't feel like I can trust live timing right now. And the shadow we have in the camera screen that we are calling from here is very tough to pick out whether those drivers are there or not. Because there's the number 9 of Martella. He's still on the racetrack. So I think we're just a little bit messed up here on live timing. Yeah, live timing's all messed. Yeah, it's all jacked up.
Does not
now.
look like he's fallen this far back as
well,
we thought.
It now has Fakuri, Beswick, and Carroll 1, 2, 3 on live timing, so that's definitely not going to be the case. Visually, it is McNeely, then Gaffera, a Lionel, and then Cooley. Drivers just cruising around here now. Let's try to pick up that next car. Wow, it's hard to pick up the numbers. I think that might be G3 Argyros. I believe that's Argyros in the Pabst colors back in 5th. So indeed, it looked like, based on live timing, a number of drivers were involved, but then as we visually picked them up on the racetrack, it may have just been Caleb Gaffera. And I'm just, my mind is thinking, based on the fact that the leaders, first and third, as they ran the track, are both fine. Gaffera very likely tried to move up the inside and potentially locked the brakes up and went straight up into the wall. So that's what if I'm going to make an educated guess, Todd.
That's a reasonable theory of what may have happened. With so difficult to, as you say, pick up because of the shadows that have crept across the track. This is also stuff that the drivers behind the wheel are going to have to deal with, because earlier today, bright sunshine with the sun much higher in the sky, so their shadows are going to impact the drivers trying to pick up their braking points as they enter different corners as well.
We'll cross our fingers that live timing comes back up for us here and lined up correctly, because right now it's a bit messy. Nonetheless, some action here once again. Tough one for sure. We've had a couple incidents already. Brad Mashman and getting taken out by a move to the inside in one by Teddy Musella, and then a single car incident here for Caleb Gaffera. Looks like we're going to back racing, I think. Here comes Jack Jeffers to try to take his run this time at Liam McNeely. McNeely was able to pull the move on Caleb Gaffera. Let's see if Jeffers can get it done here. Lap 8 will go in the books as they come back around. Again, we're not even to the halfway point here. 29 minutes, still lots of time in a 45-minute window to get this done. Final race of the day on the track as well. Not able to get it done for Jeffers. He slots back into the second position. Liam McNeely out front.
A little looking further back in the field as well, going into corner number 1, but drivers, I think, using a little more discretion after this a couple of incidents early in the first half of this race.
I think sometime, it's when these drivers are hey, like, I wasn't in that event. I wasn't in that wreck. Okay, I'm okay right now. That's the key, because you need to stay out of the wrecks. They're seeing them happen. Some of the drivers now saying, okay, I've gained a couple of spots here. There are guys that are going to make mistakes around me. I'm not going to be that guy. This transition here, we talk a lot about the crown of the road and another full course yellow. USF 2000 drivers struggling, another driver off in turn number 4. This looks like a replay. Exactly the same spot. Again, tough to pick up which driver that may be.
It is. We have seen a number of cars have difficulty coming through corner number 4 in this series and in others as we've been through the day here on the streets of St. Petersburg. Sometimes that transition, that right-hander, it just pushes you out. And as Rob mentioned, if you hit the tires will grab you and you usually stay put. But this also looks like a bit of a ride down the wall for the car on the driver's left.
It literally looked like a carbon copy of what we just saw. Exactly the same damage, very likely exactly the same mistake, overcooking it into turn number 4, getting down the inside, pushing straight out. So there's McNeely, Jeffers, Lionel, Cooley, and then we have Argyros, and I think that's Martella, because Martella had worked his way up there. And then normally we'd be able to just look at live timing and tell you which drivers were down the order, but now with live timing being so mixed up on us, we're not able to even use that as a backup to tell you who's involved. Watching the cars come through here, trying to pick up who potentially that could be. Watching the cars come through here, trying to figure out who that might be involved. Again, everybody's got brand new liveries as well, right? So we're trying to pick up the liveries on everybody. Everybody with new colors, new teams. A couple new teams in Synergy Motorsport and Benchmark Autosport as well. Those are for Eddie Beswick and Ayrton Hauk. There's Hauk there. I'll tell you the car I'm trying to find, and that's Vian Bossoff in the Stars and Stripes machine for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Development, the car that Elliot Cox drove last year. Todd, I'll let you pick something up here, and I'll see if I can't get race control to dial me up some information. Okay. Yeah, being told potentially number 67 of Ian Bossoff has made the issue there over in turn number 4. And again, listen, these are the drivers I keep telling when they come in here. Listen, guys, you're here racing for next year. Finish the race. I know you want to move your way forward. some of the lower percentage moves, when you haven't made a move to the inside yet, you haven't tried that inside, that's tough. And we see a couple of drivers, 2 rookies that we wanted to see have really good starts, Caleb Gaffera and Vian Boshoff, both those drivers with incidents coming here midway through. We're only 10 laps down in this one.
And that is the other issue, is that, we've only gone 10 laps. We've had very little green flag running, so no one's really been able to get into a comfort zone, a feel of a rhythm, because we've had drivers that have pushed just that little bit too far over the edge, kind of getting into a little bit of trouble. We've seen a couple of cars in the walls, as you mentioned, almost cut and paste copies of the same incident coming out through turn number 4. Let's hope that teams will be on the radios to their drivers. Hey, this is an area, pay attention. Let's just calm down a little bit, understand where we are, just relax, take a breath. We've still got a long way to go. We're only getting past the halfway point of this race. There's still plenty of racing, still plenty of opportunity, but let's be smart about it.
Todd, I'll tell you, when you throw out there, I'm not quite sure who this is right now. All of a sudden, my phone blows up and I get texts from everybody coming in from around the racetrack, those who are on the scene, like, yeah, it's a 67, he's by himself. Thank you. I appreciate that. Again, it was really tough for us to see for the straight shot on that we had. I hate jumping out and jumping to conclusions of who we may think it is. I try not to do that. People at home are obviously not super happy when you say it erroneously and then give them heart attacks somewhere halfway around the world. But tough one for Vian Boshoff, the driver from South Africa. It's been a number of years since we've had a South African driver here. I think we have to go back to Julian Vanderwatt. It was a driver who ran for Team Pelfrey many years ago. I'm going to say very likely 10 years ago, maybe, something like that. He was a fantastic driver. Julian was very quick, and I believe that was the last time we've had a South African driver as part of the program. So great to have Vian Boshoff here, and hopefully he'll be able to dust himself off and get back out here and do it again tomorrow. The crew at the Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Development Program, Andy O'Gara and the crew will go to work on that car, getting it dialed in. Not surprisingly, I would bet, just obviously potentially full left side damage. He'll be lucky if it's just the front tire, because he got in there pretty hard.
It looked like he did slide down the wall just a little bit down the wall. As we continue under caution, the pace car remains out for one more lap. It looks like most of that incident has been cleared in corner number 4, but hopefully we'll be able to get back to some green flag running, as we're just working lap number 12, I believe it is. Looks like the lights are out on the pace car now as the field gets lined up single file, getting ready for another restart here on the streets of St. Petersburg. And yes, everybody's starting to pick up a little bit of speed. Give that pace car plenty of room to make the exit and dive down to pit lane. And again, the corner 1 incident and one of the keys to the race for Rob at the start will come into play here as we get ready for our restart after this caution period and the cleanup now completed from corner number 4. Now it looks like they're letting that pace car get away just a little bit as we move through the back part of the circuit and head towards the chicane, and then corner 13 and 14. This is corner number 10 now. The left-hander and the pace car will start to get away as they make their way through this last few corners on this track and get ready for another restart. There's the gap that's begun to form now for the pace car that's getting away.
Yeah, 11 laps in. And those of you following on live timing, we apologize. We'll try to get that updated and get it running clean again for you. We'll have to do this visually right now. So, indeed, away we go with 11 laps. Still 9 more to go. 21 minutes still. So, lots of time on the clock within this 45-minute window to get things done. Another restart for Liam McNeely to see if he can hold off Jack Jeffers right there as well. Behind him, Joshua Alionel looking to grab his first podium in USF 2000 competition, but not said and done for potentially going for a victory. Big run down the straightaway right now. No one able to make a move. Cooley thinks about the inside, but not quite there. Same goes a little bit further back as Martella has a look to the inside of Argyros. Neither driver able to make the move. They'll snake their way through turns 2 over to turn number 3, and we're back underway. Turn 4 has been a rough one here. This is where the drivers have had so much trouble. We'll watch them come through here. This is where drivers, I think, just getting in too deep and getting into the wall on the outside. You saw one driver going a bit wide there, but wide's fine. Locking up and going into the wall, a much different story. A number of drivers done for this one here.
Was trying to see if there was something in the transition of the asphalt and making through that right-hander that was causing drivers difficulty, but it just seems like somebody's getting in, some drivers getting a little bit too hard, carrying a little too much speed, and it's pushing them out into the driver's left wall.
When we did the track walk, every coach was trying to tell the driver, hey, listen, you're from the outside of the track where you have no camber. It's going the other direction. Then you kind of cross back over a little bit. Every time you cross the crown of the road, it's something you have to deal with.
And the car gets a little bit lighter and a little bit unbalanced because of the crown in the road, obviously built there to let the rain run off the streets during city streets when we do have rain here in Florida, but makes it very difficult for some of these drivers. But looks like we've settled things down and we've got through a lap. And just watching again to make sure everyone gets through corner number 1 and corner number 2. So far, so good. And now we'll just hope that these drivers settle down into a little bit of a rhythm. Now, again, is the opportunity with the changing conditions, more rubber on the track, the sun going down a little further, the bigger shadows and cooling temperatures. Understand what you've got underneath you. The car is going to feel very different from what it did earlier this afternoon in qualifying and earlier this morning when they were out for practice.
Yeah, temperature's different. Track with the IndyCar rubber down, Indy Next rubber. You've got a little bit of breeze here now. I don't think we had earlier today as well. So all those different situations, all those different factors into what this track is going to feel like. Everybody having to adapt the best they can. Working lap number 13, I believe now. 7 laps remaining, indeed, as we're underway. Again, after a couple of tough starts, a couple of drivers having issues on the racetrack. 2 incidents, 1 in turn number 1, 3 in total, 1 in 1 and 2 over in turn number 4, collecting both Caleb Gaffera and Vian Bossoff. Now we're into this final little bit. Who's got the speed to bring it home? McNeely, Jeffers, Lionel, Cooley. And then Argyros running 6th. Martella, we believe, running in the 7th spot. Trying to pick up some of these drivers visually.
And Liam McNeely, one that we talked about, would be one to watch with Jay Howard Driver Development, who made his debut in the USF 2000 Series last year in Toronto, focused on getting good results in the opening couple of rounds, which is what I think every driver says coming in. We want a couple of good results, but to find yourself in this position with about a quarter of the race remaining, now you really have to focus on what's ahead of you as an opportunity.
And Todd, I rewatched that Toronto race last week where it was Papasavas and Liam McNeely on the front row, the 2 Jay Howard Driver Development teammates. Papasavas, Liam was on the pole. Papasavas was able to get the gun and go to P1. He was in the championship fight with Max Garcia, so he was leading, went on to get the win. McNeely was the perfect wingman and was able to hold off both Sam Corey and Max Garcia. So it was a big one for Papasavas to close in the championship, but McNeely showed his prowess on a very tough street course, and everybody will tell you Toronto is far tougher than the track here. And in fact, a couple of drivers I talked to said, to be honest, I think the pavement here, this track at St. Petersburg, may be better than some of the tracks that we actually run on. So
interesting.
They've done such a good job laying this thing out and doing what they've done on the racetrack to lay down more pavement throughout the years.
They've continued to refresh the asphalt around the track over the years to smooth out some of the bumps. To 2, 3, and 4, we had some very difficult conditions for a few years. That has been smoothed out and made much nicer now. So interesting, but you also don't have the dramatic climate change that you do in the north, like in Toronto, where you get cold and you have frost and you have pavement unsettling because of frost heave.
Yeah, you never know what Toronto's going to be like from year in and year out, right? They did do a full repave of the Lakeshore Boulevard section at one point, but still that was super slippery. When we had any kind of rain, there was no grip at all because it was a very compact aggregate that they used. So depending on what they use, depending on the track itself, sometimes it's got lots of grip, sometimes it has none. Look at these battles through the field. This is what I love to see. Once we've kind of settled in here, you get some of these 2-car battles where the drivers can really go to work. They can really learn what it's like to be in the draft, deal with the aero wash. This is what I wanted for these drivers in USF 2000. Sure, if you're at the pointy end of the field, it's gloves off. You're going at it, right? You're trying for a race win. You're thinking championship. But if you're outside the top 10, just get into it, get grooving, try different parts of the racetrack, learn that aero wash, try to make a move potentially, but don't throw a race away when you're outside the top 10.
These are great opportunities for learning, even if you're further back in the field, as you mentioned, because of the aero that you will feel from the other competitors, but it's a great opportunity to work on racecraft, to setting up drivers to make a pass. Many a pass will occur in one corner, but it's because of what happens several corners before, allowing yourself the opportunity to get close, get a run on a driver, get them to position position the car the way you want them to so you can facilitate that pass a little further down the road.
And Todd, we got a couple battles lining up right now. Jack Jeffers and Liam McNeely pulling away a little bit here out front. And then we have that battle as well between Joshua Leonel and Evan Cooley. Look at these lining up here. We're got a couple of scraps going on. Look at this battle, P1 and P2. Remember, the laps are winding down right now. This will, I believe, be lap number 17 when they come across the line. We are going at it. There's still lots of time left in the window to get this done. There is some battles happening. Let's see whether or not Jack Jeffers has anything for Liam McNeely. Not this time down. Same goes. Cooley's going to make a big move to the bottom. He can't do it. He locks it up. Cooley looked to the inside of a Leonel and had to really roll back on the brakes, lock that tire up a little bit. You know what happens when you start flat spotting a tire? You better watch out.
That's exactly it. Has himself now something else to deal with. Fortunately, there was plenty of space between him and the fifth place competitor, so it didn't cost him anything. But now you've got to reel back that car to try to make another opportunity for a pass before the end of this race. But an unsuccessful pass, but a big learning experience headed to corner one.
Todd, it's so inviting. You come down there, the driver's way out wide. He's doing the full racing line, wants to make sure he can arc it in, and you just see this huge wide opening, and I can beat him to the apex, and then he starts turning in. You got to get back, like really crank on the binders when you're trying to roll off and get down to the apex. But again, if you own the apex, you own the exit, and that was a great job for Evan Cooley. And there it is. He locked it up again. That right front, he has flat spotted the right front a little bit. 4 laps to go, and I believe it'll be 3 to go when they come across the line. So, indeed, laps are winding down in this one here for USF 2000. Who will be the first victor on the season? Will it be Liam McNeely or will it be Jack Jeffers? Joshua Leonel trying to get a podium finish for D-Force Racing in his first ever run. Right now, it's Jay Howard, Exclusive Autosport, D-Force Racing, and Pabst. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pardon me, not Pabst. Pabst is 5th. It's two exclusive cars because Evan Cooley having a good run there, P4, but man, he wants to get on the podium. You see how hard he's pushing that Tatis.
Look at it out front, like Liam McNeely is maintaining a pretty steady gap, although now it looks like Jeffers has closed up in the back part of the course. Maybe his car operating just a little bit better, where he's starting to push a little bit harder, understanding that we're winding down at just a couple of laps to go.
The tighter stuff, you're not worried about the aero, right? Again, coming through that hairpin, that turn 13, 14, big hairpin, you're just waiting to roll back on the throttle, but you lose all the air off the front wing and you start to get that mid-corner understeer where it just doesn't want to turn. You got to put some more wheel into it, and then once you have wheel in it, you don't want to roll on the throttle too much to get some snap oversteer. So Jeffers is a veteran driver. He knows what he's doing here. He'll try to get the victory, but if it's second, it's second. Again, this is how you win championships here in the USF 2000 program. Big run down the straightaway again. Jeffers, does he have enough of a draft to make a move to the inside? No, but they are pulled away. Leonel comfortable in third. Cooley fourth. There's a potential move there. That is Martella going to the inside. Try to go side by side with Argeros. No. Martella looked to the inside.
Not going to be successful. Anthony Martella, though, understands that the laps are winding down and is looking for an opportunity to improve his position. He was aggressive, but also understood that that pass was not there and moved back to fight for another day.
Indeed, hard to tell you exactly what drivers are behind them right now. A lot of times, of course, we rely on live timing to help us out here, especially with the sun going down. It is very hard to see which drivers are a part of it here. If we can hold this shot, we may be able to get some numbers as they work. There's Martella, and then right behind him, I want to say that looks to be the 90. Is that the 90? I was wondering whether or not that was Lucas Facuri. Is that the 91? Not quite sure. Again, so tough to see. There's your leaders coming through again. I'll tell you, another big lock up on the right front there for Evan Cooley. He is working that Continental. Final lap, white flag flying here. This will be the last shot for Jack Jeffers. Does he make a move to the inside of turn number 1? He tries to round the outside. We went checker. Well, we were working out the final lap in the top left corner. That's the checkered flag, folks. We didn't know it was the last lap. Wow, and of course live timing wasn't helping us out at all on that one. So there you go. We were based off what we saw. Liam McNeely with the race win. It says Lucas Facuri in second coming across the top. I know that's not going to be on your screen at home, folks. That's what we're seeing here on our screen. I believe it's going to be Liam McNeely with the win. Jack Jeffers coming home in second. Joshua Leonel in third spot. Fourth, Evan Cooley. Fifth, G3 Argeros. Sixth is Martella. At that point, after that, I don't know which drivers were in the position there. I'll say this. Jack Jeffers put the pressure on Liam McNeely, Todd, over the last number of laps. He kept his head down. Absolutely kept digging.
Good for Liam McNeely, understanding that he was under pressure, but trying to focus his attention forward, hitting all those marks at the right braking points to make the corner successful. If you do that, it puts yourself in the best position to win. Does not leave an opportunity for your opponent to have an opportunity to get ahead of you.
You know, I think you saw the drivers in the top 5 there. Really, at the one point there, maybe 5 to go, they were starting to get antsy. They were like, okay, I'm going to try to make a move. We saw Cooley try to make a move on a Lionel. We saw Jeffers get close a couple of times, but not make the move. At one point, I think as it kind of got to the last couple of laps, they were saying to themselves, okay, listen, I'm not really in a position to make a move here. There's drivers who have had some issues. I'm not going to be the guy that does it myself. I'm like Jeffers P2. If he's the championship fight when he gets to Portland, he's going to look back and say, solid run for me there for sure.
That was the right move to make. And again, that's part of the learning process and the growing process for these drivers and teams is understanding if the opportunity is not there to make that pass, if you've got a third place car, secure a third place position. Look for an opportunity, but if it's not there, take the points.
So I'll say this here as we stay in the booth. I've been told we do have the RF camera up now, so we are going to potentially be able to do the podium result. That's something we weren't going to be able to do, so we should be able to carry the podiums here. So don't go anywhere if you want to watch the podium. Stay with us. Todd's going to do some fill for us here as I make the long run down from where we are here in the booth to Victory Lane to get a chance to talk to these drivers. But again, this guy here, folks, Liam McNeely out of the gate, the driver out of London, England, scoring a victory for Jay Howard Driver Development. There's Jack Jefferson, Jeshua Lionel. A huge result for a Lionel in third. Strong run for Jack Jeffers as well, coming home in the second position. 3 very impressive drivers, 3 different teams in the top 3 as well. Love seeing that. But again, they'll work their way over. They get themselves weighed. Todd, that was a fantastic finish. And what you want to see is we get a couple of the drivers who are going to be in the championship fight. Sure, there could be others that maybe aren't there right now, but 3 drivers right there have just shown you that they have the pace to do it at a very tough racetrack to start the season here in St. Pete. Again, what a fantastic battle that was. We had a bunch of incidents on track, but lots of great racing all the way through, and 3 different teams up here on the podium today. So let's get started. The driver coming home in third spot. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Joshua Lionel. Joshua from D-Force Racing out of Texas. Kristen Hicks, one of our guests from FBM, the Foundation Building Materials Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Kristen, thank you so much. Joshua, thrilled to be back up on the podium here. He knows how to win races, and awesome for him. First podium here to start off the season in USF 2000. Finishing in the second spot for Exclusive Autosports, Jack Jeffers. Big win for Jack, put a lot of pressure on the leader at the end. He'll start the season off here with a great run into second. Keith Hicks bringing up that P2 trophy for Jeffers. Put the pressure on. We're doing it all again tomorrow, as we know. It's going to be a good one. Always awesome to see a driver come and win his first race in any series, folks. He had a couple wins last year in USF Juniors. The driver from London, England. He is now a winner in USF 2000 for Jay Howard Driver Development. A round of applause for Liam McNeely. Liam, let's you and I chat first. Say congratulations to your boys. How big was that one? First, the pass was fantastic on the restart, but congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, no, it's just good to be out here in Florida. It's just really nice. Yeah, good pass for the lead, and then just had to control it from there really. Jack gave me, had a lot of pressure on me for the last few laps, but yeah, kept it clean and brought it home.
You've raced for many, many years. You know how crucial it is to get out of the gate strongly. You had a good run at Toronto last year, but just how important is it for you think, to win here in the first race of the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just points on the board. Long way to go in this championship. So yeah, good to get a win, and first of many hopefully this year.
Lots of logos on the suit. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, mainly Acclaim Contracts and my team as well. Joe and Jay, they put in a lot of work behind the scenes to make this car go fast. So yeah, really happy and really pleased for them.
You did it in USF Juniors last year. You can do it this year. Get up on top of the podium, folks. My winner today in USF 2000, Liam McNeely. Keith and Kristen will bring that P1 trophy up for him. Future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series right here, folks. Just a couple of years ago, this was Renus VK. This was Kyle Kirkwood, this was Christian Rasmussen. This is where these drivers all come from. They'll be in IndyCar in a couple of years. They're getting it all started here in St. Petersburg. They'll do it all again tomorrow, as we said. But again, great way to start off our wheel-to-wheel action. We'll get those trophies up in the air for sure. One more time, folks. Round of applause indeed for these tremendous young drivers. Couple of young Texans, and then, of course, Liam McNeely from London, England, the UK. For Jay Howard Driver Development. Jay, of course, a English driver as well, who came over here in the early 2000s to run USF 2000. He would go on to win a number of championships and started many Indianapolis 500s. Jay, of course, now a fantastic team owner. His son Hudson coming up soon, too. We'll see him probably racing for Jay Howard Driver Development coming up the line. But these three drivers right now are ones that we will no doubt see work their way through the ranks to try to get to the NTT IndyCar Series. Champagne, of course, waiting in the wings to cap off what is to be the first of 4 races on the weekend. We'll do 2 tomorrow, right around the noon hour as well, right in the middle of the day. USF Pro 2000 and USF 2000. We do have the autograph sessions afterwards as well, 2 o'clock and 2:30, just on the other side of the bridge as you go from the inside of the track to the outside in turn number 2. Come and join us at 2 and 2:30 to get a chance to meet these young drivers. They have their autograph cards with them. You get a chance to meet the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. Those hard cards, of course, those hero cards, the autograph cards, will be collector's items one day. Getting the hat dance done, of course. Big thank you to all our sponsors: Continental Tire, Elite Engines, Carl Haas Auto, Racing Communications, PFC Brakes, Skip Barber, Hyperco, Tilton, Rotoform, Racer Magazine. A lot of great guests coming and joining us here this weekend as well. Fantastic group coming in from Foundation Building Materials. They're sponsoring our headline USF 2000 program. Anderson Interior Contracting will be on the docket for the USF Pro 2000 cars, but great to have all these guys from FBM here to have some fun this weekend. Just a great way to start off the season. Number of drivers having issues on the racetrack. They've got to bounce back tomorrow. You don't want to make that mistake and do it again in race number 2. This is when you can come back and have a recovery drive to try to keep that championship rolling and in the fight. But these 3 drivers getting it done in the opening race of the weekend. The opening race of the year, that's crucial. First, second, and third for McNeely, Jeffers, and Lionel. So these drivers, of course, folks, as you know, are going to have to be racing again tomorrow. They only have these one set of suits. They're not going to spray each other. You don't want to be sticky and stinky coming into Saturday. So watch for that champagne to fly its way out towards you guys in the gallery. Photographers, watch yourself for sure. Guys, grab that champagne, boys. Grip it and rip it. Let's celebrate USF 2000 race number 1. McNeely, Jeffers, and Lionel on the podium to start off the season.